Hello everyone, my name is Tim and I've been asked quite a lot on how I do patches for different things, so I thought that you all could come along and see how I make my patches, and maybe if you're interested you learn something. And I've been doing this since last autumn, and the key ingredients to patches is the digitalization. Actually, the machine is a machine, and it doesn't do anything unless you program it to do it. So if something goes wrong, it's probably your fault. So this is how I make a patch, and this is an old patch that I'm trying to replicate, and it's sewn on a Brother PR600 from 2008, I think. It's about 1100 hours into it, so I bought it secondhand, and yeah, fixed it up, and it works quite okay. If you have any questions, just put a comment down below. Otherwise, let's go to the video. Okay everyone, so we're starting with the stabilizer. It's a small cloth that I put my fabric on to sew, and I just push the frame into it so it's quite tightened. Then I go to the machine and I put it in the machine. I just put the hoop in the machine, and afterwards I take a piece of cloth. So I'm doing something called floating, and that's when you don't attach it before and you just sew the what do you call it? You sew you sew the frame of the patch. So I make two patches in this one, and here's the first run on the patch. And you can't see it because I use white on white, but you will see it afterwards. So this is the first one I do, and then the second one. And when doing this, I feel like I can save a lot of fabric because I don't use much more than I need, so it's not too much spill. To float like this, I figured that you can't fill a full patch with stitches. You need to, as I do, I use the fabric and just do the patches on the side. And here you can see the frames or the sewing parts, and then I cut it out. I cut it out with quite close, but not totally close to the sewing line. I leave a little bit on the side because when we're doing the border, it needs to be attached to something. I'm not too thorough. I'm doing just like I see it. And once I've cut it, here you can see the two patches are being made. It's not so even on the borders or anything. It's not so important. The frame will be white as well, so you won't see the fabric if it's anything poking forward. Then it's back into the machine and start sewing. This is a Brother PR600. It's an old machine from 2008. It's been sewing for about 1100 hours before I got it, and it's a 6-needle machine, and it's a good thing when you have like this patch, you have several colors. I run it at 600 stitches a minute. You can run it at 1000, but you don't need to. And now we switch color. As you can see, you don't need to stop the machine, so that's the good thing with more needle machines. And we're going to the blue color, so it makes the blue, then go back to red, and then we do the the white border. The border we make first the tack stitch is called. We go just around it once or twice, and then I do a zigzag in between the two runs to put the fabric, have a good base for the the frame stitch, or if you can call it. It's oh, I lost the word for it, but it's a special machine that makes it normally. So this is like a simulation of that machine. Marrow, that's the word I was looking for. Marrow edge. So we do a simulation of the marrow. So here you see it doing the ordinary double line, and then I do zigzag in between, and that's a good base for it, I found out. I'm not at all a professional or anything. I'm just learning by doing, and I've done quite a lot of mistakes before this, but sometimes they turn out quite good and people want to know how to do it, so why not share the information? And if you want to see more of this, subscribe and leave a comment. That's highly appreciated. Now we've already almost done a full circle of the zigzag, and as you will see, you will do the marrow edge. A normal marrow edge machine, it's much quicker than this, and it's a little bit easier, but still this is a good way to do it. A marrow machine is about $3,000, and a lot of people can't afford that. So if you get a machine like this, you can always do a simulated marrow edge. So I do a marrow around, and then I do a stitch inside the marrow to replicate the marrow a little bit, and the last stitch is for even if you want to have a Velcro or hook and loop or whatever you want to call it, then you just put it in the last one then. So here's the last run with it's a triple stitch, I think it's called, and we do it all around the border, and then it goes to the next patch and does it as well, and then I'll show you how I do the cutout. This is a tearaway stabilizer, and it's even water soluble, so if you put cold or hot water on it, it will like melt. But it cuts quite good, and when you put the marrow edge, it's perforated quite a lot around it, so it's almost loose already. And now we'll go to the second patch, and we'll let the patch go, do its thing. And here you see the end of the marrow part, and then it's the last stitch we do. I'm sorry if it's a long video for you, but sometimes I found out that I want to see quite a lot on the video to figure stuff out. Then you just remove the hoop onto the table, and as you can see, I have several other patches there already made. Once it's out of the hoop, I take my scissors and I sharpen them a little bit before this, and then I just cut away, and I cut quite close to the edge of the patch. Don't be afraid to cut, but at the same time be a little bit careful. As you can see, I almost just push the scissors along the edge, and that almost never cuts any of the stitches I have in the marrow. Sometimes one or two stitches get cut, but it doesn't matter really. Once you do the next step, and that's the lighter part, then it doesn't really matter. So that's a almost ready stitch, patch. And two of these patches takes approximately 30 to 40 minutes to do. But as you have a machine like mine with 6 needles, you don't have to change any colors. You just press play, make sure you have enough thread in the machine, and then you just go. And one thing more I do as I'll show you, you have jump stitches some places, and in this I have maybe 6 or 7 jump stitches, and that's between when it does the S to the A and A to the B and A and so on. You get one stitch in between, and what I like to do is to cut them and then use a lighter to make it almost be disappeared already totally, and it looks more clean like that. A lot of people when I've bought patches and stuff, they don't do this because it's time consuming, and I can understand that, but I do small sets of patches, so I take my time and do it all the way. And as you can see, sometimes you can see some threads poking out from the side, but we'll take care of it momentarily. Once you use a lighter here to make the thread go away, don't use it too long or you'll burn. But sometimes you don't cut all the threads and you have to go over once more with just a small part of the thread maybe. It's time consuming as I said, but it looks more professional. Once you're done with this, you go to the edge and you do just quickly on the edge 1 or 2 passes like this, and as you can see on the corner the stabilizer disappears totally, and it seals the edge basically. So that's a finished patch, and as you can see, quite clean on the back side as well. And you can see the edge there, looks like it's been stitched like a marrow all the way around. Nice. So that's how I make the patches. So have a nice day and thank you.